Hi, Melissa from Melissa versus Fibromyalgia here, and I want to talk to you about something excellent. So, a while ago, I shared about a pain management plan that has been really changing the game for me with fibromyalgia, ME/CFS, interstitial cystitis, endometriosis, for which I had excision surgery and hysterectomy. The bottom line is that I know chronic pain and I'm a little slow on the uptake. It took me a long time to start figuring out how to get on top of the pain, how to get on top of flares, and I did it with the if this then that plan. So I made a non-negotiable plan where I literally wrote out, if my pain is 3 out of 10, then I will do this. If it's 4, then I'll do this. And it made a much more proactive approach in the permission I gave myself to take the medicine was just a mindset shift I needed to take, because I had been prescribed a lot of medications over the years by the doctors, but I'm not very good at actually taking it. But I gave myself permission and ironically ended up needing far less medication than one would think when you do that, because the proactive nature of getting on top of pain, especially in fibromyalgia, means that you end up in less pain. So the pain flares up the nervous system flares up the pain, other conditions get involved, you don't sleep, and then it's a vicious cycle. But when you kind of track it back the other way, it's a good cycle. And so that has been working really well for me ever since I made that video, and I'll link it for you so that you can find it. But my new addition to the plan is how to manage heat intolerance. So I am quite sensitive to heat, and we've had a heat wave this summer, and we've had some brutal days. And what I've noticed is that as the heat begins to climb, I start feeling more and more unwell. I feel lethargic, sleepy, headachy. My neck starts going. It's really weird how pernicious heat is for me. And after one day of it being so intense that I couldn't even stand upright, my orthostatic intolerance was so bad that if I tried to sit upright, I would feel so dizzy, so sick, my heart rate would go so high that I had no choice but to stay lying in bed. And I was a bit nervous about that because that had never happened before. And I sent a message to my doctor, and she asked me the next day to go and get a complete set of blood work, which I did. And that came back completely normal. All my blood work is fine. So the conclusion is I'm sensitive to heat and have to be careful. And she just said I need to make a plan. That's what I do and what I'm good at, and I just need to make a plan and stick with it. And unfortunately, sometimes that grates against like what I believe or feel or whatever I want to do or think I should be doing. And also the messages for other people like, oh gosh, she's, hiding from heat again, or says she's too sick, or the heat makes her too sick, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I didn't go on an overseas trip to a very hot country for the exact reason of heat. And the heat came here anyway. But I have applied my if this then that plan to heat only in the last week, but it's made a big difference. So the if this is, if it is 23 degrees or higher, then I put on the air conditioning. I do not go outside, I do not muck around, I put on the air conditioning. And at first I struggled to remember and to think of it and do it. But today I was very clever. So I did all my work in the morning, sat down to eat some lunch, and then I was doing a little bit of reading before I carried on. And then I realized I'm not feeling too good. And then I thought, I'll check the temperature, 24 degrees. So I closed up the house and put on the aircon. And I think that this is wonderful, and I want to suggest this to you as a idea, as a thing to consider. So when you're making your if this then that plans, consider things like your heat intolerance and what you need to do, because for me, sometimes simply putting on the aircon and getting out of the heat makes such a difference. It's like night and day, and I'm like, phew, that's wonderful. But sometimes I leave it too long and then I'm impacted for a couple of days. I don't sleep well that night. The next day my neck is hurting, and then once that carries on, it's all over. And again, I have to be really brutal with enacting my if this then that plans, and I do get a little bit complacent and I do forget. So Moral of the story, if you are heat intolerant, add it to your list. If it's a certain temperature, then you'll hide from the heat and put on the aircon. Let me know, do you have you made an if this then that plan? How's it working for you? Or if you're going to, check out the video and then let me know in the comments below if you love it, if it's helped, or if you have a better way of approaching it. Anyway, I'll catch you again soon.